My name is Maurice Hawkins. I am the Political Action Committee Chair of the Greater Hampton Roads Black Democrats. And today we are here to state our unwavering support for the statewide Democratic ticket led by Governor Terry McAuliffe, Lieutenant Governor candidate Hala Ayala, and the sitting Attorney General Mark Herring, as well as the entire Democratic ticket running across the Commonwealth of Virginia. I'm going to introduce some of the elected officials who are here today supporting us at this event. First, I want to recognize Senator Louise Lucas, Senator Mamie Locke, Senator Lionel Spruill, Delegate Juan Ward, Delegate Clint Jenkins, Delegate Marcia Price, Delegate Cliff Hayes. Also, we have some other elected officials who'd like to recognize our Democratic nominee, Delegate Nancy Guy from House District 83. Okay. We also have Blythe Scott, the Norfolk Commonwealth's attorney. Excuse me, the Commissioner of Revenue. I gave you a promotion. Okay. We also have Norfolk Treasurer Dawn Hester in attendance. Thank you for attending. We also have former Virginia Beach Councilwoman Louisa Strayhorn, school board member Louisa Strayhorn. School board and student council. You know? Okay. We also want to recognize our 2nd Congressional District Chair, Sandra Brand, who's in attendance today. We also have Gayleen Knoyton, the first Vice Chair of the Virginia Beach Democratic Party. Democratic Party, Virginia. Sorry. Okay. There's a lot of Democrats here today. Okay. We also have some candidates, Fennell Norton, who's running as the Democratic nominee in House District 100. We have Scott Flax, who's a candidate in House District 82, our Democratic nominee there. I also want to recognize our Treasurer candidate, Laura Wood Hubbard. Okay. So now what we want to do is introduce Senator Mamie Locke, who will give us the purpose of today's event. Thank you.
Good morning, and thank you all for coming out this morning, and we appreciate your attention and your attendance. And as Maurice indicated, we are here to set the record straight. And in setting the record straight, let me first begin by defining a caucus for you. We are members of the Virginia Legislative Black Caucus, and as such, we are members of the Virginia General Assembly. That is why we are a caucus. We are a member of a body, the Virginia General Assembly. That is how we became a caucus, as a member of that body. A caucus. Let's get that straight. Okay, during the last presidential administration, there was some new terminology that came out. Things like fake news and alternative facts. So lately we've been getting a lot of fake news and alternative facts. So we want to set the record straight about fake news and alternative facts. Okay, so behind you here are individuals who've been engaging in decades of service to the African American community as members of the Virginia Legislative Black Caucus and as members of the Greater Hampton Roads Black Democrats. It is individuals here who have been engaging in support for the African American community through real service, through real legislation in support of the African American community. Not fake news, not alternative facts. We have been doing the work for education. Yes. We have been doing the work for health care. Yes. Through Medicaid expansion. Yes. We did it. Yes. We didn't fake it. We did COVID relief. Yes. We did housing and alternative affordable housing. we did expansion. You know, we did sensible gun legislation. You know, we did jobs and for SWAM. You know, we did criminal justice reform. You know, we did it. You know, so our purpose here is to set the record straight, you know, for our decades of service. You know, we did voting rights. You know, we did the work. You know, so we're here to set the record straight for what a caucus is, you know, and what a caucus does. You know, we do the work. We do not engage in hyperbole. We do not engage in fake news. We do not engage in alternative facts. We do the work. We engage in the service. So our purpose here, again, is to set the record straight. So thank you very much, and I'll turn it over to individuals who are going to tell you what's at stake for this. And to do that will be Delegate Jawan Ward, Delegate Clint Jenkins, and Delegate Cliff Hayes.
Good morning to everyone. Yes, this Black Caucus, the Greater Hampton Roads Democratic Black Caucus, cannot be compared to any other group, because this Black Caucus believes in the well-being and the dignity of all workers. It is not just a slogan. It really means something to us, and we have shown this by our actions. How many of you have heard that Virginia is the best place for business? I know you have. But how many of you have heard that Virginia is the absolute worst place for workers? According to the Oxfam report of 2018-2019, we learned that Virginia was number 51 out of 50 states. Now, how do you do that? But in 2020, when members of this caucus, the Democratic caucus, were in the majority, we took the lead in changing those statistics. And in less than 2 years, I want you to know that we increased protection for domestic workers, we expanded accommodations for pregnant workers, and we also allowed governments to begin to collectively bargain with public sector. And let's not forget the big one. It is this caucus, the one you see standing behind us, a Democratic Black Caucus, that was able to pass legislation to begin to increase the minimum wage to $15 an hour. This is the first time in more than a decade. It's because the members of this caucus, the Greater Hampton Roads Democratic Black Caucus, that Virginia is no longer the worst place for workers. We are now at number 23. We believe that in the next 2 years, Virginia can be not only the best place for business, but also the absolute best place for workers. And it's because this caucus, the Greater Hampton Roads Democratic Black Caucus, we believe that the backbone of this Commonwealth is the working men and women. We believe that all workers are essential. Thank you.
I represent Suffolk and a small part of Chesapeake. I also have membership in the Greater Hampton Roads Black Democrats. I also have membership in the Virginia Legislative Black Caucus, and I'm excited to be here, and I thank all my colleagues for coming out this morning to set the record straight. Terry McCullough, make no doubt about it, is our choice for the next governor of Virginia. This election is too important to go back on policies that don't protect families, particularly people of color. Terry McCullough will stand up and keep defending Medicaid expansion for over 550,000 Virginians. And with COVID-19 pandemic still going on, we cannot afford to have persons lose their health care. Terry McCullough will work to make sure that drug prescription costs is lowered, and that the cost of hospital visits do not increase, and work to control insurance rates. Terry McCullough will work hard to make sure that public schools are protected and have the necessary funding, instead of increasing charter schools. That money that's needed that we use for charter schools, he'll make sure that that is invested in public schools and will help our teachers. We want to protect voters' rights. Virginia currently has one of the top ratings, and we want to do the same thing for employees. We want to improve the ratings. With a Democratic majority, we have protected Virginia's voting rights, and we have protected women's reproductive rights. With Terry McCullough as Virginia's next governor, get this now, this is the most important part. He will promote reconciliation, an environment of respect where persons can express their differences without fear of bullying and retaliation, intimidation, or being threatened because of their race, their class, or the cultural differences. Make no doubt about it. We asking you to support and vote for Terry Governor as our next governor of Virginia.
I, along with everyone who's standing here, are our ancestors' wildest dreams. We are our ancestors' wildest dreams. And what's at stake here are voting rights, public education funding. I said public education funding, K through 12 as well as higher education, access to the voting booth, as well as access to affordable, quality health care for people, and to make sure what's at stake is the difference in making sure that individuals in every community across this Commonwealth have the information technology bandwidth to fully participate in this economy and this democracy. When we look at higher education funding, more specifically, let us hone into our Commonwealth of Virginia HBCUs. Because of the Virginia Legislative Black Caucus, historic funding and resources are now flowing as deserved to Norfolk State and Virginia State, as should be with Hampton as well as Virginia Union University. All of our HBCUs are now getting the attention that they so rightly deserve. When it comes to health care, what's at stake is the difference between Virginians having to make a choice between purchasing their groceries and their medicine. What you see here are chosen, elected officials by the people, the Virginia Legislative Black Caucus, that has made that difference. When it comes to digital equity and closing the digital divide in this Commonwealth, you see here leaders chosen by the people that are funding broadband and high-speed connectivity at record rates. That's the difference, and that's what's at stake. We can't afford to have the gains roll back. Access to the voting booth. Just looked at the record today. Because of the 45 days of early registration that we have employed here in the Commonwealth of Virginia, the Virginia Legislative Black Caucus and the Democratic Caucus, we have been able now, as of today, there are some 367,000 Virginians who've already voted in this election. We know for a democracy to work best, we have to get around the oppression and suppression of people participating, but to have full participation. That's how the democracy works best. So those are some things that are at stake. Make no mistake about it. Vote for Terry McCullough for governor, our friend and governor who served before, not promising anything, but He's proven. Hala Ayala, our delegate and fellow member of the Virginia General Assembly, as well as our Attorney General, Mark Herring, all proven, not just making a bunch of promises. And then what's at stake finally is to make sure that we do not allow our people to be bamboozled and tricked by some old playbook. It's the same playbook. We've seen it. We've seen it in 1997 when the Republicans said, then their candidate for governor, that he was going to make sure that no one paid car tax. I don't know about you, but I'm still paying my car tax today. That was in 97. He promised that scheme and got into office. And yet we're still paying the taxes that he promised he was going to get rid of. Now we hear that today by the other candidate for governor, promising to make sure that people don't pay income taxes and people won't pay grocery taxes. Let me tell you one thing. The way that the Virginia General Assembly works is that the Senate and the House works congruently with whoever is in the governor's mansion to come up with the budget. So no one person can simply take away the fact that that funding is in place to make sure that our teachers are paid well, our roads are protected, and lives and health care are protected. Make no mistake about it. That's what's at stake in this election.
We have legislators in our organization, the Virginia Legislative Black Caucus, that fight for Blacks Virginia and all Virginians. We are the first in the South to abolish the death penalty. We are the first, Virginia is the first in the South to legalize marijuana with decriminalization. Get people can live now, get housing and jobs and credit report with automatic expungement. Virginia is the first in the South to have declare racism as a public health crisis with funding to it. And Virginia is the first in the nation to have its own Voting Rights Act. Yeah. In the South. I'm sorry, in the South. I'm sorry. The first in the South to have its own Voting Rights Act. And Senator Locke has a bill now, an amendment bill that has to pass again in this General Assembly session to be a referendum in November of 2022 that will protect all of our voting rights from now on, and we will never be like Texas or Georgia. That's why this election is important.
Why are we supporting Democrats? That's the question. Why are we supporting Democrats? Not just because we are black. We are Democrats, number one. But we got to go back and look at 170,000 restoration of rights done by a government Democrat. 400,000 health care insurance done by a Democrat. And then this one says here, Democrats expanded voting rights in Virginia, allowing easy access for voting. Now, I'm saying this. I wonder who in their right mind, or what black person in their right mind will vote for Republicans who are trying to suppress black people from voting. And yet we have some fake black group out here in the press bought that stuff. Bless your hearts. They bought that stuff. We are the Black Caucus. Two right here, Democrats. So don't buy that stuff. It is important that you know the truth. It's important also to know that Terry McAuliffe will also lead the fight for us to increase pay for everybody. You know about the 15%. Now we got to go around this. We have candidates who are saying that they are Democrats. We have a governor candidate who says he's a Democrat. The Republican has a black person who is running, but she's scared to say she's a Republican. We can't buy that stuff. Look at her stuff and see her name. She's a Republican. Don't buy it. We are Democrats, black Democrats, for all people, all. That's important. That's important. So I'm saying y'all this right here. We are here to set this record straight. Now, I wonder now, will the press go back on the 12 o'clock news and 5 o'clock all over the whole country and saying, hey, we have found out the truth. We were getting laid out about our folks saying, what are y'all doing? What are y'all doing? Because the press was saying some black group. And they didn't check it out. You check it out this time, brother. Check it out this time. We are the Black Caucus, Democratic Black Caucus, who represent all Virginians. And that's important.
Now I'm going to give you some history about the Hampton Roads Black Caucus. You've already heard what a caucus is. Hampton Roads Black Caucus was founded in 2012. The front person was a young lady named Shannon Kendrick. She was a staffer for former Republican Representative Scott Ridgell. Okay? But she was a black woman, so she was the face. And she was a nice face, okay? She all right, okay? But let me tell you, they filed finance reports, and you can go on the State Board of Elections website and see this. They filed reports from 2012 through 2014. The last report was filed on 2 January 2015. That would be for the period ending December 31st, 2014. And that report had a deficit of $1,337 and change. So you cannot end your reporting with a deficit. I'm here to tell you that, okay? So I went to look because I was sitting up waiting to watch Saturday Night Live, and I see that we supposedly had endorsed somebody that I know. I was voter number 1. I know I didn't vote for him, okay? I was voter number 1 in Virginia Beach. So I started looking. I said, let me see. I thought that group was gone. So here we go. I look. The Twitter handle that the Republican governor candidate used is no longer being used. Went to the website from that Twitter handle. Nope. So I went ahead and I said, well, let me just search on Twitter for these people. Lo and behold, there's another Hampton Roads Black Caucus 757. Okay? Now, supposedly, according to the news, folks, bless your hearts, they said that they are registered as a nonprofit. No, they are not. They are not. We cannot find them in the IRS database. When you look on their website, well, when I looked Saturday, and yes, I took a screenshot, they said, we are a political action committee. And I said, okay. Then I should be able to find reports. I should be able to find out who's in charge, who the treasurer is, and so on and so forth. No. Go on the website now, and you're going to see it says we're a grassroots group. Because I was kind enough to go on their Facebook page and tell, I'm wondering, are you a PAC? What are you? No, we're not a PAC. But your website says so. So here we are. We've got a group. Now, I have talked to 3 members. 3 $50 a year members, okay? And all 3 of them said, we were never contacted to vote. We don't know how this vote went. One of those 3 members asked, well, can we get the vote totals? The deflection. I'm more horizontal than I am vertical, okay? That has nothing to do with it. The bottom line is, nowhere on the website does it say that Mr. Ron Taylor is their president. Nowhere on the website does it say that. Nor does it say where their funds are kept. Nor does it say how much money they have. According to my sources, they have approximately 175 members. You multiply that by 50, that's $8,750 a year. And fundraisers every year. The fundraiser this past Saturday was $30 a seat or $300 or $400 a table. Okay? I want you to know the facts. The facts are that there is one name on that website, and it is a contact name. And because I don't think he knows what he's into, I'm not going to mention his name. Okay? Because I know the gentleman. However, Mr. Ron Johnson's name is Ron Taylor's name is nowhere to be found. And I really like him to come out the shadows and clear this all up. Now, I was asked on the Facebook page, well, if we had endorsed Terry McAuliffe, would you have looked us up? Yes. because I want to know who else you endorsed. They have a history of endorsing Republican candidates. Yes, there are Democrats that they have endorsed. Yes, they are. I'm one of them. When I ran for treasurer in 2017, they endorsed me. I was running against a 40-year incumbent, okay? But the bottom line is they are a Republican-skewed organization. To use the name Hampton Roads Black Caucus is, I'm not going to use fake news, I'm going to use lies. They do not represent me nor anybody standing behind me. Thank you very much.
I am Delegate Sia Price, and I represent the 95th District based in Newport News. Right now, it is important that we all know the danger that we face. The Republicans' main priorities are to suppress Black voters, stoke fear and hate, and politicize the pandemic that is costing us precious lives, resources, and time. Slow talking and sweater vests does not change the fact that the Republican Party of today is the same Republican Party of the election of 2020.
Amen.
Trump has not gone anywhere, not just because he's talking about running again in 2024, but because his friends are running in Virginia right now.
Yes.
The Republican candidate for governor has been caught on camera showing us exactly who he is. A Trump ally with Trump policies, pretending to be a moderate. The Republicans had more than 2 decades to deliver on the promises that they are making today. But instead, they chose to keep wages low, make it harder to vote, try to defund our public schools, refuse second chances to those who have been incarcerated, criminalize those who live in poverty, being puppets for the NRA, and proliferating racism. And they want you to believe that somehow they have had a change of heart. But the truth is, they are the same as they were all those years they killed the meaningful and transformational legislation that we brought forth in order to protect their comfortable status quo. And they are the same as 9 months ago when they violently stormed the Capitol trying to overthrow the government. Nothing has changed. Contrary to what some have been paid to say, the Republicans are not good for Black issues and are dangerous for Black lives. We need voting rights, job creation, health care, education, fair and affordable housing, child care, worker protections, higher wages, safe neighborhoods, justice reform, eradicating racism and hatred, and equity in our Virginia Code. Our issues are human issues, and when you help communities that have been targeted, marginalized, and suppressed, you help everyone else too. And with all of those issues in mind, the receipts are there and the record is clear. Governor Terry McAuliffe is the best choice in this race for Virginia. Today, we are offering our endorsement for him and the Democratic ticket, and we are not afraid to show our faces or have our names be out here. But more important than who we are, let's talk about what we've done. We've protected voting rights and made it easier to vote. We've invested historic amounts in raising teacher pay, in K-12 education, and our HBCUs. We've brought good paying jobs to Hampton Roads. We've fought wage theft and unsafe worker conditions. We passed gun safety laws to save lives. We've raised the wage for the first time since 2010. We've taken a stand against discrimination in the workplace, housing, and healthcare. We work to protect our environment and actually say there's a climate crisis, much less address it, and the environmental injustices. We've invested in small business. We've abolished the death penalty and legalized marijuana. We've pushed for police accountability and transparency. We've expanded Medicaid, added dental benefits for adults, and capped the cost of insulin. We've expanded and increased SNAP benefits for the first time since I was born. And we've funded over $1 billion in rent, mortgage, and utility relief. And we've trusted science and have taken this pandemic seriously in an effort to save lives. We have delivered on your demands. But we know we can't rest on the work that we have done because it is at stake if the other side wins. Since 2020, I know it's been hard in this pandemic, but what we still accomplished together is record-breaking and history-making. But more importantly, we hear every day that the policies that we have put into place have a positive impact on real lives of everyday Virginians. As I close, we have a lot of work ahead of us to build back a better Commonwealth and nation on the other side of this pandemic. And that will take strong and battle-tested leadership. We must protect our progress so we can keep building towards a Virginia that works for all of us, not just a few, and we do that by electing the Democratic ticket. Thank you.
You know, there's something in the water. And it has a foul smell.
Yes, it does.
To use Pharrell's language in his letter, most of you have read it, he said that this city, and I live in Virginia Beach, I love Virginia Beach, but he said that this city is run by and with a toxic energy.
Yes, he did. He said it.
And he didn't really explain exactly what that meant, but the reason that we're here today is because of the tricks, the lies, the untruths. Those are all examples of the toxic energy that we see in the largest city in our Commonwealth. It's not by accident. Let's be clear that this group, I'm not going to call them a caucus, this group, it's here in the largest city of Virginia Beach. Because if you can sway Virginia Beach, you can sway the entire Commonwealth. And so I'm proud to stand with these Democrats today. We will not be fooled. We will not be tricked. We will not be bamboozled. And let's be clear, this same group, I'm not going to call them a caucus, this same group, they're doing stuff at the city council level, at the school board level. I was at city council last night. You saw the news. Qualified candidates to take a seat, to replace a seat in the Lynn Haven district. And who do they pick? They go way back and get somebody who clearly is not qualified to move our city forward. There's something in the water, and it's foul. And so I'm excited to be here with these true leaders, the true caucus, who not only represents black people, but marginalized people all across this Commonwealth. And I'm glad that we're calling out, and the media, please, whatever you do, you reach out to these folks and have them do a press conference and see who shows up. See who stands up for this so-called caucus, and I guarantee you'll get the truth about what's happening. It's time to do the right thing. Let's vote Democrats all the way down, and let's keep the momentum going. Thank you.
I just want to go over some dates with everyone as it relates to the early voting that is going on right now that the Democrats made a reality. Okay. On Tuesday, October 12th, is the last day to register to vote. On Friday, October 22nd, is the last day to request a vote by mail ballot. Right now, you can cast your vote at Building 14 at the Municipal Center in Virginia Beach for the Democratic ticket. And then on Sunday, October 17th, from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m., you can vote on Sunday in Virginia Beach. And then on Monday, October 18th to Saturday, October 30th, our early voting will expand from 1 location to 5 locations throughout the city of Virginia Beach where you can cast your votes early. And one last point of personal privilege. It's about not who stands with you, but what are you going to do for you. I encourage you to go to Terry McAuliffe's website and look at his plan for lifting up black Virginians. Terry McAuliffe has a detailed, precise, and comprehensive plan to improve not only the quality of life for African Americans in Virginia, but for all Virginians. It's not about what you say, it's about what you're going to do to make our lives better. That's what public servants do. And I have the distinct honor to introduce another public servant, Senator Louise Lucas.
Guess what? I am the longest standing member of the Virginia Legislative Black Caucus. So I know what a Black Caucus is, okay? But I'm also a member
of the Greater Hampton Roads Black Democrats. I know what that committee is all about. And I'm still asking the question, why are the members of the Hampton Roads Black, they call themselves a caucus even though they're not, why are they afraid to say that they're Republicans? What are they hiding from? My colleagues have very aptly laid out why we're here to set the record straight. And I am not going to trespass on your time by repeating what they have said. But I do want to say to you that, as you all know, all politics is local. While we're talking about a statewide ticket, we need Terry McAuliffe at the top. We need Howard Ayala as a lieutenant governor. We need Mark Herring as our attorney general. But we also need to make sure we pay close attention to these races here in Virginia Beach. Yes. This is political central for us on November 2nd. Yes. We need to make sure that we re-elect Delegate Askew as a delegate. We need to make sure that we re-elect Delegate Nancy Guy. And guess what, Nancy? I brought another check this morning because we're going to make sure that you win here in Virginia Beach. We want to make sure that we elect for the city treasurer, Laura Woodhaber. We want to re-elect Phil Kellum for the Commissioner of Revenue. And we want to make sure you understand. Kelly Fowler is also, is Kelly here today? No. Kelly is also running here in Virginia Beach. We want to make sure you pay attention to the races here in Virginia Beach. It is critical. Do not sleep this election. There's too much at stake. My colleagues have already said to you the reason why we're here to set the record straight, and we want you all to call out the Hampton Roads, what do they call themselves? Democratic Black Caucus. Oh no, what do they call Hampton Roads Black Caucus. Call them out. And for those of you who are in the press, you may have been deceived in the past, but there's no reason for you to go forward and continue to report those lies. Set the record straight. And with that, I'm just going to turn it back over to Maurice to close us out, because I'm Louise Lucas from P-Town, and enough said.
And vote Democrat.